All right, let's talk about some good stuff here. Let's see what is going on. A lot of things happen, a lot of things transpire, and it's something that I've been interested in, and a lot of folks are. And I want to talk to somebody that knows a little bit more about it than I do. And I found the man with the plan that knows about that, and that is Philip Mantle. How are you doing?
Good evening, Pepper. I'm fine, thank you.
Doing good, doing good. So, whereabouts are you located right now?
Well, I'm in the north of England, so you probably know the cities maybe of Liverpool and Manchester. Well, I'm about 50 miles from Manchester, about 60 miles from Liverpool, and it's snowing like mad here as well.
Snowing. I don't want no part of that. Now, see, I think when we've been over a few times, but I don't think we ever went up that far. We stayed down towards, I guess, the southern part. We stayed around London and Yorkshire and stuff like
Well, I'm
that.
in Yorkshire. I'm in West Yorkshire.
Okay.
We're about 200 miles north of London. So next time you come, forget London, Pepper. Come on up north.
Yeah, yeah. I did. We stayed in London for a few days, but I didn't like that. We went up to Yorkshire. That's up in Yorkshire. That is where my I guess great grandparents or so are from over there. That's where they came from back in the 1800s. So they're in Yorkshire. So we got some family over that way. So it's pretty good.
Yeah, well, come on up and take a look around. And if you're into the paranormal stuff, there's plenty here.
Plenty. That we did. Where did we go? We went to. We stayed in a few of the haunted castles while we were there, and checked some stuff out. So that was good. But what I want to know about is this book that you've got out. What got you interested, or what got you started in the UFOs and things like that? What was it that got you going into wanting to look into this a little more?
Yeah, I mean, as a young man, Pepper, I was always interested in the things you were discussing earlier. The paranormal. I had an interest in that as far back as I can remember, and just by chance, right opposite where I live was my best friend's grandmother. And when I was about 13 or 14 years of age, I used to go to the spiritualist church with her, and it fascinated me. But then, just by chance, I read a book, and it was an astronomy book, and it had one chapter in it about UFOs. Pretty much dismissing it, to be honest, but it got me intrigued. So once I left high school, didn't know what to do, sort of roaming around. I started to read more about the subject. And then, of course, the Spielberg blockbuster Close Encounters came out. That had an effect. So in late 1978 into 1979, I went to work in what was West Germany at the time. And I couldn't speak the language, so I couldn't watch the TV. So my mum sent me a box of books to read. And they were all on UFOs. I don't know where she got them from because they were hard to come by. And of course, by the time I got home, I'd been converted. And just by chance, my aunt gave me our local newspaper that we have here. And it had a little small ad in it announcing the formation of the Yorkshire UFO Society coming up that Sunday. And it was in the city of Leeds in West Yorkshire. So in 1979 on a Sunday here, Pepper, everything closed. It was like a ghost town no matter where you went. So I didn't drive then. So I went into Leeds on the bus, found this location, and the Yorkshire UFO Society had been set up by two brothers, Graham and Mark Birdsall. There was about 20, 30 people there. They put on a presentation, and that was it. Pepper, I was hooked, quite literally. I joined from that day, and I've been involved ever since. I was 21 years of age at the time. I'm now 62, so that's 41 years I've been involved. That's 2/3 of my life. It seems amazing, but there you go. That's how it all began.
Well, I was skimming through this book the book that you got out, the Young Person's Guide, introducing UFOs, and there's a piece in here that's not far from where I live, and you've got 1878, January the 2nd, not too long from now, in Denison, Texas, a farmer, observed the objects in the saucer of the sky and moved over them great speeds and great heights. And that's Denison. That's right down. That's not far from me. And where I'm at out there at night, you see stuff all the time. And we can go out to the field and you can look up, and I see stuff a lot of times where you'll see something sitting in the sky, just sit there for a minute, and then it just takes off. And I'm like, what is that? What's happening? What's going on? And then you look at it and you try to justify it, I guess. The things you see sometimes, you just try to figure out that can't be what I saw.
Yeah, you try and rationalize it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an obvious, same in the paranormal field. You may see something and you try and say, well, it could have been this, it could have been that. And you sort of go through a process. It's interesting you mentioned that little story from 1878, because people for a long time and still today use the term flying saucer. And it was first in any big way went into the public perception in 1947, when private pilot Kenneth Arnold saw these objects over the Cascade Mountains. And they journalists asked Kenneth Arnold, how did these objects move through the air? And Kenneth Arnold said, like a saucer skipping on a pond. Hey presto, flying saucer was born. However, the first time they were actually called a saucer in print was that you mentioned in 1878. The farmer said, when you looked up at these things, because they were very low, he said they looked like a saucer from underneath. So, the word saucer had actually been used before the term flying saucer became accepted into popular culture. Mm-hmm. And so it was just a way of highlighting in the book that, things have happened a long time ago.
Yeah, and you got the little bit of stories in there. So at what point did you decide, I need to just write this down. I just need to put it out there, put it together, just to kind of give people a guide to kind of what's going on and how you feel about it. So how'd that come about?
Well, yeah, I mean, the book's not there to indoctrinate anyone. It's not telling you must believe this. It's aimed at a younger audience. It's called Introducing UFOs, a young person's guide. So kind of high schools, maybe early college sort of era. It's been illustrated by my colleague, Ronald Kinsella, who's done a great job. The idea formulated a few years back, Pepper. I've been in discussion with colleagues here in the UK about the next generation, who's following on behind us in this research field. And it's the same, the high school students, they are the next politicians, the next plumbers, they're the next everything.
Right.
And I'd like to give them the benefit of my experience in this field, because you can go on the computer now and type in UFOs and it'll bring up a zillion and one websites. Yeah. Just because one comes to the top of the list, it doesn't mean it's the best. So this was a way of kind of saying, look, you're at that age now where you formulate your own opinions and your own interests. If you want to get involved in the field of UFO study, there's nothing to stop you. You don't need a degree. You don't need to be a professor. I have no academic qualifications at all, none. But I've been involved in this subject for 40 years. And I've done all kinds of different things. So I decided we'd select cases from each decade, some of which you'd never heard of before, some of which we know Roswell and things like that. But at the end of the day, it was saying to the younger generation, make up your own mind. Mm-hmm. Here's the first rung of the ladder, if you like.
Right.
For example, in the center of the book, I don't know about you, Pepper, but when I was buying books, the old-fashioned way in a bookshop, I used to flick through them and see what the photographs and pictures were like.
Yeah.
So the book is 150 pages. It's not an encyclopedia, so it's not something you've got to slog through. There's a nice set of illustrations and photographs, but in the middle, there is what we call a UFO photo file. Mm-hmm. So what I did, I went around a lot of my colleagues and said, which do you think are the most authentic UFO photographs. They might not look the best, but to you are authentic.
Right.
So we put a selection of photographs in there from around the world, quite literally, from Australia, from Turkey, from Russia, the US, I mean, you name it. But what we do say on the introduction to that is to the reader, you make up your own mind. We're going to start with the hoax from the Project Blue Book files. That was the US's official UFO study. This is a hoax. Now look at the others, and you make up your own mind. Right. And similarly, when it comes to what UFOs may or may not be, again, no sign of indoctrination. We just put three theories in there. One, the UFOs could be, not of this earth, they're from elsewhere. Mm-hmm. Two, maybe they are secret government technology that's being tested. Or three, perhaps it's some kind of rare meteorological phenomena that science hasn't yet caught up with. Again, make up your own mind.
And see, and what my thinking, or one of the theories that I had come up with too, is at some point in the future, with all the technology, that somehow time travel gets invented, that maybe it's us in the future coming back to study the past to see how we got to where we are.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm a publisher as well. I run a small company called Flying Disc Press, and I've published books by other authors as well as my own. And just last year, a lady by the name of Diane Tessman wrote a book, and I published it for her. And Diane's theory is that these are not from another planet. It is indeed time travel. It is time travel. And I remember speaking to a well-known physicist some years back by the name of Dr. Michio Kaku. He's in the States, and he was telling me how time travel was theoretically possible. The only thing that he said prevented it was we didn't have a big enough power source. It was the power source that was letting us down. So that is another theory that is gaining popularity, I should say. Okay. Because what we've learned over the last, decade or so, Pepper, is that the universe in which we all live is far bigger than we ever dreamt of. The visible universe is, for example, 48 billion light years across.
Wow, that's a lot.
It has an estimated 2 trillion galaxies in it. And of course, within all those galaxies are countless stars and planets. So the possibility of life existing elsewhere has increased enormously. However, the distance that they would have to travel to get from there to here, from A to B, has expanded as well. So, the researchers have looked for other ideas and other possibilities of, and time travel is one of them. Another one is like we use Star Trek terminology, they use wormholes. Well, of course, just last year, things like this became, popular again. And black holes, can we travel across the universe via a black hole? I think we had the first photograph of a black hole last year, which is amazing. Right. It used to be the thing of science fiction, but now it's science fact. So, like I said, we only put these three theories in, as you pointed out. There are lots of others, but it will give the reader to that little bit of impetus, saying, well, these are three possibilities. What do you think? Right. Again, make up your own mind.
Yeah. All right. Well, Philip, man, I hate to cut you off. We're run up on the clock, but I'm gonna have to get you on again because we got a lot more to talk about.
We have indeed. Maybe we could do a pantless paranormal investigation rather than go on the subway in it.
Right. Well, I appreciate it, and we'll let the folks know about the Flying Disc Press to check that out, and also the Introducing UFOs, the Young Person's Guide, and let them know about that. And we appreciate your time, and we will definitely catch up with you again.
No, it's my pleasure, Pepper, and you take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye now.